Might be needed as evidence.
In these streets at GMFB, it is time for the Lead Block.
Lead Block!
Championship Sunday is almost here. Taking a look around the league, there's just 2 games left. Over in the AFC, the Chiefs will host the Titans, and then at 6:40 p.m. on Fox, it's the San Francisco 49ers up against the Green Bay Packers. So much history between those 2 franchises. I cannot wait for this action, but let's kick it off in the AFC. All week long, we've been talking about how the Titans are going to use Derrick Henry and how the Chiefs need to stop Derrick Henry. Well, it turns out Derrick Henry is all those teams are talking about, too. We have reports from both, starting with Tiffany Blackman and the Titans.
Hey, Derrick Henry said he gets more in a rhythm the more carries that he gets, and that's been evident over the last 3 weeks. In each of those games, he's had 30 carries or more. But let's go back to that Chiefs game. Up until that point, Henry only had one 100-yard game. I spoke with right tackle Jack Conklin, who told me the cohesiveness of their offense started to come together around that game and that it was a do-or-die moment for them. Well, they got the win, and they paved the way for Henry to rush for 188 yards. And ever since then, this has been a different Titans team.
I think us is, believing in each other, on all 3 phases. When we out there, out there for practice, competing, getting better, keeping emphasis on what we need to do as a team by what, the plan that's been put in for us to execute. And I think that's what we've been doing collectively together.
As for the guys in front of Henry, well, I spoke with guard Roger Saffold, who pointed out at the beginning of the season they were without left tackle Taylor Lewan. Saffold himself was new to the team, and they had a rookie guard in Nate Davis on the line. He said it just took some time, but now we're seeing the group really gel together. Now to James Palmer with the Chiefs.
Well, thanks, Tiff. The Chiefs have 3 players that are sub-4-4 wide receivers in McCole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, and Sammy Watkins. But they'll all say they can do what they do on the deep ball because Travis Kelce works the middle of the field brilliantly. Last week, 3 touchdowns in the second quarter. And there's such a feel between Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Andy Reid told me in Kelce's routes, there's a lot of liberty for the 2 of them to put their own mark on those plays. He said the understanding that each of them have how they want to play those plays is remarkable.
I don't understand how you know when I'm doing that. I knew you were going to turn. There was nothing telling you I was going to do that. And the ball was in the air before I did it. That's what I wanted you to do. And I was like,
Even though Kelce dominated that divisional round, he was battling through a knee injury, but the Chiefs believe this week, even though he's been limited, he is in a better spot health-wise than he was a week ago. But Chris Jones, once again, Kay, not practicing. A big hole if he can't go for this Chiefs defense.
He's the guy out there to stop Derrick Henry. Hopefully he can get back on the field. Ian Rappaport joining us this morning. What else can you tell us about the health of Chris Jones and about Travis Kelce heading into Sunday's AFC Championship game?
Okay, James Palmer mentioned the Travis Kelce injury. He was electric on the field this past weekend, but he was doing it battling through a little bit of pain. From my understanding, he was dealing with IT band tightness in his knee, something that was causing him soreness and discomfort. It actually limited his practice availability last week and has limited his practice availability this week, but it does sound like he's going to be out on the field. He's certainly not going to miss this game for a nagging type injury, but we will see if this is something that plagues him going forward. Thus far, he has been able to grit his teeth and simply deal with it. Different situation for Chris Jones. Remember, he tweaked his calf in the middle of last week in practice. It was a game-time decision. It was a little bit of optimism that maybe he'd get on the field. Then he worked out pregame, and there was no optimism. It was obvious he was not ready to go. Such an important player in the middle of their defense. 9 sacks this year, a Pro Bowl disruptor. He has not practiced yet. While Andy Reid said he is improving, if he doesn't get out there on the field today, it does not bode well for him being out there on Sunday.
Thanks for the updates all around. Ian, we'll talk to you throughout the morning right here on GMFB. Back here at the breakfast table, let's talk about this matchup in the AFC. What do we believe will ultimately decide who is going to represent the AFC in Super Bowl Live?
I believe this is going to come down to Super Bowl Live. I believe this is going to come down to Ryan Tannehill. I say it all the time that players have opportunities to rewrite their own narratives. Now, speaking of that, one of my favorite games to play, books to read when I was younger, was Choose Your Own Adventure. Love them. And that's exactly what Ryan Tannehill has done. You got to think about it. He had more opportunities to play elsewhere, sign for different types of money, different amounts of money, and be in different situations. He chose to go to Tennessee, be a backup, because he believed there was an opportunity for him to play. And I say it all the time, history repeats itself. with the way that he plays, if he makes a run in Miami, this will alter the course of his career path. Think about 2013 when Joe Flacco bet on himself. Then all of a sudden, he went out there and had one hell of a December. January, won the Super Bowl MVP, and then got broke off a ton of money. Here we are again, the same situation. Ryan Tannehill signing for a little bit to nothing, going out here with an opportunity to alter his life.
Yeah,
forget about a couple of games. He wins this week, and he goes to Miami. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about Ryan Tannehill as a premier quarterback in this league.
And yet, I look at the other quarterback. This was supposed to be a year of maybe Brady versus Breeze, or a year of the final stands for Ben and Eli and Phil Rivers, that draft class. And then it became the year of Lamar, right? It's been all about Lamar from the second we had week 1 and he had 6 touchdown passes straight through to the end of the regular season. We might be done with this thing and say, oh my God, it was Mahomes all along. Because Patrick Mahomes didn't have the numbers he had last year.
Not even close.
But none of that matters if you win a Super Bowl, and that's what you'll be remembered for. And this is it. Like, Mahomes, to me, last week, and lost in the great stop on the 4th and you know, down with the fake punt and great run back by McCall Hardman, was that Mahomes had 7 straight touchdown drives and threw 4 touchdown passes in a quarter last week. He went nuclear, and he was unstoppable. He was in the zone. We've got 32 starting quarterbacks in the league. One of them will be across from him with a great story. And yet, if Mahomes can just throw this team on his back and ensure that he is who he's been the last several weeks, there is no stopping the Kansas City Chiefs. They will be the ones playing in Miami, and Patrick Mahomes undoubtedly will be viewed as the best quarterback in the NFL, even in the year of Lamar.
The only way to stop him, and there's one name. I don't know if you guys have heard this name. Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry. We've talked a lot about Derrick Henry. We're going to talk a lot about Derrick Henry today. Here's the thing. If you are a Chiefs defender and you do not handle your business, you're going to talk about Derrick Henry for the rest of your life. I'm talking about the next 50 years that's going to come up. You know what they need? The Chiefs defense, this is how this game will be decided. They need a tone setter. They need someone early who said, not today, not on this defense, not in our house. They need, because Titans are going to get the ball to Henry early. They're not going to mess around. They're coming right at you, first series, probably first carry. And I look back to one of the classic tone setters of all time, to the year 1990. This is a moment that has haunted the Chiefs for 30 years now. Think about this. There was a running back, 250 pounds, rushing champ, very fast, very scary, a nightmare. And a safety in this game on Monday Night Football in 1990, Steve Atwater, said, enough. Atwater said, you want to run through the gap? I'm not afraid of you. This is the kind of effort I need from somebody, anybody, everybody on the Chiefs defense. Set the tone like this.
Let me see this.
They got Koye at fullback. I don't give a play wide receiver. Hey, Christian's still in.
Okoye up the middle, and he is knocked dead in his tracks. What a hit.
Atwater.
Wow, what a sock by Atwater.
Does anybody in KC want to do something about that? Does anybody want to right that wrong? Steve Atwater, that changed his life. It changed Okoye's life. Atwater says to this day, people stop him in airports. They pick up his checks about that hit. This is a guy who could go to the Hall of Fame. It's one play, set the tone, win the game. Anybody, Dirty Dan Sorensen, Honey Badger, Frank Clark, find 22 and unleash hell on him, or it's going to be a long day. Set the tone. You got to have it.
What are you looking at each other for?
Oh, man, that hit got me feeling some type of way. Doesn't like punch your own bones up?
I know.
You know, it's funny, though, but you bring that up. And Honey Badger did come out and said, listen, it is what it is. We got to stop Derrick Henry. If we want to go to Miami, we got to hit him. But with that said, Kyle, I feel like every team has said that over the
Earl
last
Thomas had some things to say, too.
I don't think they're going to hold him at 30 yards, but you can set a tone. Lay some lumber on him.
Listen, not to mention Earl Thomas, Kyle Van Noy said that his revenge tour started with the Titans. So I'm just saying, a lot of guys want to set the tone until the tone sets them in the ground or sets them on their butt.
I'm excited about this game from a historical perspective. 4 teams left. In the AFC, I'm looking at Norma Hunt. I hope there's a camera on her the entire time. It's the 100th year of the NFL. There are less than 20 human beings on planet Earth who have been to every Super Bowl. She's the only one. She's the only woman that we know of that has been to every Super Bowl. It's also the 60th year of the Chiefs. They're celebrating that. Of course, they haven't been to a Super Bowl in decades. So for her to be able to be there, and she's hosted an AFC championship game before, but to win one, to raise the Lamar Hunt Trophy in honor of her late husband would be amazing. She's known as the First Lady of Football. Jane Skinner did a tremendous job profiling her and what the game means to her in a lifetime of Sundays. Take a look at